Easter Sunday, and welcome to my Vision is Clear experiences. I am hoping that you are enjoying this day and taking the time to reflect and maybe sneak an Easter candy or two. Shh, don't tell my coach. Anyhow, I am excited to be back with you and very excited about my guest today because you know my love for things that help us women achieve our dreams. Olena Mytruck is the founder of Breviary, a female-focused digital self-development platform. She created an app just for us. Its sole mission is to empower all females around the world to create their definition of happiness and to find the courage to follow their dreams. Hi, Olena. Welcome to My Vision is Clear Experiences. How are you doing today?
I am good. Thank you so much for having me, Elaine, here. That's the pleasure.
Yes, it is definitely my pleasure to have you. I love having guests that, we are like-minded. We think and talk about the same things that align with goal setting, encouragement, empowerment, and just a journey. And I feel like you and your business and your app really goes well with this. So thank you again. This is going to be exciting.
I'm excited.
Yes. So before I like to dig in, I like to have a little bit of an icebreaker, just kind of like, make it a little less anxious. Not for you, of course. It's always for me, but I like to have it. So, we have been in COVID for a very long time. It seems like forever. And, being confined in our homes has been, a lot. And so I'm curious, what was one of the first things you did once you got the permission that we can go back outside?
Well, I think the most exciting moment was probably 2 or 3 months into pandemic. After we were completely locked down, we couldn't go anywhere. Everything was closed. And back then I lived in Los Angeles and LA County was all closed, but Ventura County opened, allowed restaurants to open outdoors. And I remember reading the news on Thursday saying that Friday or Saturday, they would allow the restaurants to open in Ventura. And I'm telling my husband, we gotta book something in Ventura to go to a restaurant. And we did. And we drove for an hour and a half to go to the restaurant. And it felt so great.
I'm sure.
It was
sure
fun.
That felt lovely. An hour, I'm so with you on that. To get freedom out of the confines of our home, absolutely. I love that. I absolutely love that.
It was
That's
fun.
good. That is awesome. So we're gonna jump right on in, Elena, because you got some goodies to share with the people about this wonderful app of yours, but most importantly, your journey to getting here. I am loving your story behind your what I would call your purpose, as far as helping women and young girls to be empowered and to know that they can take care of themselves and that there's self-development and that you are multidimensional, not one-dimensional, and that you can be able to have and do all these things and be successful. So I love your quote where you say, you are unique and so are your dreams. I love that. So let's start there. How does that resonate with you?
Thank you. That's a very good question. It's really personal to me. I think the whole business, the whole idea of Breviary is just so personal. And that quote, I think, it came from the idea that we are told so often about what happiness is or should be, what success is or should be. We hear all over the place go leave your nine to five job and start your business and make 9 or 8, 10 or 7 figures, and then you will be successful. Or you need to weigh that, or you need to, like, your figure needs to look like this, or you need to exercise like 5 days a week or whatever. But I think we forget that for each one of us, happiness has its own definition. Success has its own definition. We are so different. We are unique. Each one of us is unique, is so different. And while one of us wants to have a business, another one might want to be a stay-at-home mom and have 3 kids. Or maybe we want to balance it all. Or maybe we want to travel the world. And I think it's just so important to remind each one of us that we need to first identify what happiness means for us, and only after that start pursuing it. Otherwise we'll be working on somebody else's dreams, not ours.
Yes. And so often we do that, right? A lot of times we follow what we were told we could do, whether it's from when we were kids or maybe in the time of maybe young adulthood. And because maybe we don't really have any direction or we weren't really encouraged to pursue something that we're passionate about, we tend to end up being in careers that we're not happy in. We just kind of are in it because that's what we were told and that makes the money and it pays the bills and, life gets ahead of us. So we kind of get caught in there. And so I love that, you are stressing the fact that we all are unique. We all have different passions, multiple passions that we can pursue. And you don't have to just do this thing because someone said that you have to do this thing. And I also love your point of discovering yourself because we forget to do that. Tell me how you discovered yourself. What was your process?
It's a lifelong process, I can tell you that.
For sure.
I've been on my own personal discovery development journey for the last 10 or even 15 years. And I think the most and the best thing I've done for myself that helped me is just be patient with myself and give myself space. There were several decisions that I had to make that ended up being really great for my life, really life changing, and I wouldn't be where I am right now if I hadn't made those decisions. But it was not easy, and I even remember I would spend months trying to be like pragmatic, and I would even like write down the list of pros and cons, like what if I do this, what if I don't do this. It never really worked for me
Yeah.
unless I was just letting myself to let it go and just live in the moment and not push myself, not rush myself. And then the decision would come. Then it really happened at least like twice in my life when one day, after months of trying to figure something out, I would just wake up with the perfect clarity in my mind. And then I knew that this was the right thing to do, because instead of pushing myself, instead of making myself do something, I let it kind of grow naturally within me. And I
Mm-hmm.
think it's just so important to have that space. And it's also so difficult in our lives when there is so much information, we are so busy. Sometimes it's even hard to spend 30 minutes uninterrupted. We have our
Yeah.
phones everywhere. We just don't have that time. And I remember listening to some podcast, and the host of the podcast, he said that the 92% of his great ideas came to him in the sauna. And I was like, okay, it is funny, but it makes sense. I can
Yeah.
definitely resonate with that. It's like
Yeah.
when you really don't try to come up with something, this is when those insights come to you. And I think
Yeah.
that's just so important to remember that.
Yes. I love that. It's like just being still, because we're always moving and shaking and just going, and we don't give ourselves the permission to just be still and allow, whatever it is to come to us. And so I think the question that a lot of people will have is, I don't know what I'm passionate about. I don't know what I like. I don't know. That's a main question that's always asked. And so when people ask you that, how do you guide them on that?
I think it's very important to be open to everything that the world, the universe just unfolds in front of you. Trying new things, reading new books, listening to the podcasts, just trying some hobbies, going out there, doing something that you've never done before. And before, because sometimes we don't know what we don't know, right? And
Yeah.
we won't even know until we try, until we see. So just doing everything you can to expand your horizon. And maybe you will not like what you see, or you won't like what you try, but then this is already a result, right? You already know, okay, this is not for me.
Right.
But just trying, going out there and really being open-minded to
Yeah.
really notice those signs that the universe shows you. Maybe taking the steps that don't seem rational, don't seem logical, trusting yourself as well, trusting your gut. Again, it has proved to be so true in my life, for me personally, that even when like some rational things would tell me do one thing, but my gut would tell me not do this, and I would follow what my intuition would tell me, and I
Mm,
guess it proved to be right. So
yeah.
trying to really listen to how it makes you feel, whatever you're experiencing, whether it feels right or whether it feels wrong, whether it feels like you're pushing yourself and forcing yourself, or whether it comes naturally, and
Yeah.
then following the flow. I guess we always also hear, like, for example, when it comes to relationships, we need to work on the relationships, and that is true, but also it has to come naturally, right? You don't have to constantly fight for it or work too hard for it, because then it's not worth it anymore. So there should
Yeah.
always be a balance between really working for something, but also knowing that it's rewarding, that it's giving you something in return, and that it makes you feel good in the end.
Yeah. Yeah. And that is a very, very good point. Sometimes we forget as women that we have intuition. And sometimes we forget in general that things that work organically, they work. Not everything
Yeah.
has to be forced, natural organic flow really makes you enjoy what you're doing and really puts in the energy and the passion that you want for that thing naturally, right? It's not a forced thing as you stated. And I think sometimes we forget that, yes, we have to work hard to build and learn from our natural abilities, but that shouldn't be the reason why we do something, right? It should be that it's just a natural flow and it feels good and I can do this for the rest of my life, you know? And sometimes we struggle with that. We have a hard time with that.
Yeah, that is so true. You're so right. And even with my personal goals lately, I've been trying to focus on the process rather than focus on the end result.
Yeah.
It's not, because it's not just about the end result. It has to become part of your lifestyle, part of your life. You have to enjoy the journey, as you said, uh,
Yeah.
and only then you will really be able to truly succeed. Because if you hate the journey and you try to get to that end result, maybe that end result is not worth it.
Yeah.
Your life is happening now, and doing something that you think will make you happy in the end, but it makes you feel miserable throughout your journey. Maybe it's time to revisit that.
That's so good. That's so good. I know that getting to this point that you have developed this wonderful app, Breviary, there had to be a process. There had to be a journey, that you went through and that you're continuing to go through. And so I'm curious, how did this start for you? What was the thing that you said, I want to do this thing because it's going to help women and young girls, and maybe you said it's going to help me and I'm going to do it. How did this start for you?
Yeah, that's a very good question. It started because I wanted to help myself first, and it was the end of 2020, and I guess I was feeling that my corporate career, because I've been with my job for 15 years, I've made a pretty good career, pretty successful, but I was feeling that it wasn't really fulfilling me anymore. It was just about just doing the usual things, just focusing on the revenue for the company. And it wasn't really bringing me any passion. So I knew that I was ready for something, but I just didn't know what I wanted to do. So I knew I wanted to start something on my own, but my struggle was I didn't know what that would be. And again, it's just coming back to my point as I tried to like see it and brainstorm ideas and really like pragmatically come up with a good idea. Nothing good was coming to my mind. And we were planning to go, it was around Christmas time, and we were going to go on vacation. And we already booked the trip, but with COVID getting worse at the end of
Yeah.
December, we had to kind of cancel our trips last minute. But all my days off were already booked, so we decided we'd just stay home but not work, and just do like some sort of like slow staycation at home. And
Yeah.
again, that was another case when slowing down really helped me and helped put my thoughts in order, because
Yeah.
yeah, it let me just focus on my family, just do some like home related stuff here and there, not really focus on anything much. And in the beginning of January, I was actually getting my tattoo done. I had an appointment, and I came and I was laying on the table, and there was this music, and it was on my wrist, so I couldn't really use my phone. So the only thing I could do was just lie down and stare on the ceiling. And this is when like idea just came to me. And I know it's so funny, and if somebody told me, I would not believe, but this is exactly how it happened. So ideas need space, ideas need room to come to you.
Yes.
And it just hit me. It was just like, okay, I want to create a mobile app for women that will encourage them, empower them, motivate them, no matter what, like regardless of what they're trying to achieve. Because
Yeah.
I was thinking to myself, there are fitness apps, there are journaling apps, there are other sorts of apps, but they all kind of make you focus on one thing, while your personal development journey has so many dimensions. And this was my idea. This is what I thought was very unique about it. No matter what you're working on, no matter what happiness or personal development means to you, I want to create the tool that will help you do that, that will help me do that.
Yeah.
And yeah, and when I was done with my tattoo appointment, I got home and I just honestly got started. I didn't even have a moment of doubt. I told my husband, he was fully supportive. I'm so grateful for his support throughout all these months. And yeah, this is how it started.
Oh, I love it. I love that. I mean, it's so funny because while you were on a tattoo table or laying down to get your tattoo, you were being still. You were still, right? All you could do was just look up, right? And just listen to the buzzing noise, but you had that moment to really think. And I just love it. It's like it can happen anywhere. I just love, love, love that. That it's so unique how we, get these premonitions, how we get these intuition and things that we know. I just love it. I absolutely love that story. And
Yeah.
love even more how supportive your husband has been. Many times when we get into something that is new, we're talking about going on our own when we've been working this job and it's been bringing in this income and you've been living this lifestyle and all these different things, sometimes that can be a big question mark onto whether or not you should start or do it at all. And so I love that your husband was 100% on board with that because, many times we don't get that. Many people don't get that support.
Yeah, I'm really happy. I'm so lucky that I have this support network, because from the very first moment, the only thing he was telling me, try it. It doesn't matter whether it works, but I want you to try. I believe in you. And by even trying, you are braver than so many other people who I know who had those ideas, but they never really tried. So go for it, go all for it, and yeah, and let's see where it takes us. I mean, it's really great to have that, but I think I want to say that for those of you who don't have that, I think
Mhm.
it's still important to believe in yourself and believe in your dreams and your passion, and maybe try to find that network. Potentially join some communities with other like-minded women, other like-minded people who will be able to provide that support, because it's definitely hard to do this on your own. But
Yes.
also, even if you're on your own, don't let that ruin and or stop you from really following your passion, because it's just so fulfilling just being on
Right.
the journey. And I think whoever has the passion and has the idea, they should step onto this journey and find that courage to do that. It's just gonna bring, it's gonna be so much worth it.
Yeah. Yeah. And I love that you mentioned that because, like you stated, not everybody has the support of a spouse or a friend or have that accountability or tight support group that can be able to help them. And so many times that's why we don't start, right? We don't start because we're like, how are we going to do this? I might don't have the resources, I don't have the support. And so we just kind of sit on the idea and then it just never happens. But I love that, you stating you can't do this on your own. The idea might be yours, but to make sure this thing comes to fruition, you're going to need help. You're
Oh
going to
yeah.
need help. You're going to need a solid support system, and you have to build that. I mean, some people, yes, some people are blessed to be able to have that in their homes or may just have that friend or two that's like, yeah, I love that idea. How can I help you? But not everybody has that. And so, your point of believing in what you're going to do, right? Believing in what you're going to do and standing by that thing. Because even if you have the support, can we just be honest and say staying on this journey can be exhausting? It can be discouraging at times. And so, to have that motivation or that desire to want to keep pushing is something that I think needs to be, established and continually poured into during this time. And so you mentioned you have your husband, but what are some other things that you use to kind of keep you motivated if you, for example, feel like, having a down time, like nobody's checking in on this app or nobody's really using your services? Like, how do you keep motivated to keep going when there's those low times?
Yeah, thank you for this question, Elaine. It's because you're right. It's a real roller coaster.
Yeah.
Today you are all excited, like you got some good feedback, some 5-star review, and you are
Mhm.
just happy. Tomorrow you get a 1-star review, and you
Right.
are definitely not happy. And
Right.
it can be discouraging. So I think during those times, checking in with your why, just coming back. Sometimes I even open my the document that I have written with my vision, with my mission statement. I just read it like several times. I just try to remind myself why I'm doing this, and I also remind myself that okay, maybe somebody didn't like my app, but there are people who do, and there are people who text me or message me saying I love it, it helps me. I do this for them, and
Yeah.
it doesn't matter how many of them are out there, whether it's 10, 100,000, million. uh, if I can help somebody, to me it's already worth it. And
Yeah.
this is what really helps me get going.
Yeah.
And also, I guess, me being stubborn and just not wanting to give up ever.
Yeah. Yeah.
It also helps.
That definitely helps. I mean, you need that determination and perseverance because
Yeah.
people will knock you down. They will try to knock you down. And it's like you really have to have that part of you to keep pressing because at the end of the day, you're ultimately going to need that to kind of get your thing out there, is that bit of stubbornness. You're gonna need it. So I definitely
Yeah.
agree with you on that, and so happy that you shared that. One of the things that I like to do, of course, is, vision boards and visioning and just some type of visual tool that kind of helps us to remember what we're going to do, how we're going to see our lives, and so on. So I love that your concept is in an app. And so I'm curious, did you use, before your app, you developed your app, did you have some type of visual tool or visual component that you use, that you said, I'm going to do this to develop this app? What was the thing that you used?
So I did spend a few weeks really writing down my mission statement, who I want Bravery to be, how I want Bravery to help the world. I even wrote, because I read the thing that sometimes mission statements or visions might be too abstract, and
Mm-hmm.
while they are inspirational, but they don't really give you something tangible. So
Mm-hmm.
instead of just writing down those, the advice was to write down, I think it's called uh, intent, something more
Kind of like
specific,
action
so like
action
something
plan.
measurable.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so I wrote this down, and for me, it's I wrote down something like fulfill a million of female dreams by 2025.
Hmm.
So I don't know if I'm going to be able to do that, but for me, it's like a North Star. It's something that I'm really working toward, and when I wrote this down, this is something that I can always come back to. So it was less of a visual tool. It was more
Mm-hmm.
just writing down really clearly what I want to achieve and why I'm doing this.
Yeah.
And of course, there were some visual representations, mostly for what I wanted the app to feel like. And I
Yeah.
knew that I wanted it to feel happy. I wanted to use uh, some like light, bright colors, something to really promote positivity, promote happiness, because I just feel like we need that in our lives more than
Yeah.
ever, as well as magic. I was actually drawing a lot of inspiration from even like Disney World, because
Okay.
when we are kids, we just love to have fun, right? We
Yeah.
just enjoy ourselves. We don't worry about looking silly or doing silly things. But when we grow up, we forget that feeling of just being happy
Yeah.
because of some simple things. And like Disney World is one place where adults have that sort of fun, where they really
Yeah.
believe in some sort of magic. So that was my inspiration for the app as well, to really bring that a little bit of magic into our lives.
Yeah.
That's why I came up with the idea of Bravery Fairy, your friend, your
Yeah.
accountability partner, who will really be with you on the journey.
Yes.
So yeah, because I want that experience to be not just not just bringing you results, but being fun, exciting, rewarding, because this is how you can really get going and keep going during those moments of doubts, of
Yeah.
feeling down, because all of us have those moments, regardless of whether we are starting the business or just living our lives. So we
Yeah.
have to have something that will keep us going.
What's going? Yes. And that brings me to your four ingredients of happiness, which I love. I love the four ingredients: the understanding who you are, unfolding a path, taking daily actions, and focusing on the good. Talk to me about those steps. All of it is just positivity. But talk to me about the steps that you had here for the ingredients that happier life.
Thank you for asking this question. Yeah, it's it's kind of simple, but it took me a while to really write down that recipe.
Mm,
Sometimes it really takes time to make simple things like simple and really articulate them in a way how you understand them. So
yeah.
the first step, understanding who you are. That comes back to the point of us being unique. And instead of just working on somebody else's goals or dreams, or working on somebody or on something that somebody told you would be good for you, really understanding what you want, what you need to live a happier life. And you can use journaling, you can use other techniques to really try to dive deeper inside yourself to understand that. Because without that, everything else, you might just get on the wrong path. You might be
Right.
working on the wrong things, and the results will not be what you want them to be.
Mm-hmm.
Then, step number two, of course, knowing what you want is good, but unless you really understand how you're gonna start implementing that in your life, you're not
Yes.
gonna move anywhere, right? So,
Yeah.
this is why I love actually the name bravery so much, because it combines two words in it.
Mm-hmm.
Reverie is the English and French word that means daydreaming. So that's like, okay, this is what I want, but I
Mm-hmm.
wanted to add something actionable to it. And
Right.
that's why we have letter B from brave, so that you really step onto this journey to pursue your dreams.
I love
So
this.
because it's really important to find that bravery, to find that courage to step onto this journey. It might not be always easy, but you have to find that courage inside yourself.
Yes.
And then step number three, I think it's about taking small, regular, daily actions. Because if you look at your end goal, you might just get overwhelmed. Like if you are standing on at the bottom of the mountain that you're trying to climb, you might be like, "Oh my gosh, I will never gonna be able to do that. It's just
Yeah.
so high. It's just
Yes.
so crazy, difficult."
Yeah.
But if you only focus on the next step, next rock, before you know it, you're on the top. And actually, that happened to me right when COVID started. We did a hike with my husband, and we went to Joshua Tree National Park, and we hiked the highest peak in the park. And thank God we did not see the top of that mountain. If we did, we would be like, no, we are not doing this.
Right.
But we only saw like the path, we only saw like part of it, so we were like, okay, we gotta do it. And then we kept climbing, we kept hiking, and then when we were on the top, we were like, oh my gosh, this is we are so up high. So
Yeah.
really seeing the small steps and really taking those small actions daily,
Hmm.
it is where the true magic is. I think it is where the change is, right? Um, and the fourth part, I think, it's where many people forget about creating this positive feedback loop. If you
Hmm.
do something, you want to feel rewarded for it. You want to feel encouraged. If
Yeah.
you don't get that feeling back, you will essentially, like, you will feel discouraged. You will give up. And sometimes you get that sense of encouragement from outside, but sometimes you have to be the one who gives that to yourself,
Yeah.
to create that positive feedback loop, to keep telling yourself, I'm doing great. Yeah, maybe I did not achieve the goal 100%, but I've taken the first step. I'm doing great. I should be proud of myself.
Yeah.
Telling this to yourself really makes such a huge difference.
Yes. I love that. We all need incentives. I don't care how old we are.
Yeah,
We all need something to kind of like, we're working towards this, and the reward will be that, because we're just made that way. We just have, that's
yeah,
just how we are. And so I love that that part is a part of the process, because that's real. I just really love these four ingredients to understanding or to having a happier life. It's very simple, and I love that it is simple, right? Sometimes we complicate things, and it doesn't have to be that deep. Four simple things, and it's that. And don't complicate things. Life is complicated as it is. This.
Yeah.
take this and run with it. So I absolutely love this. I love your app. I have been experiencing it myself, and I just
Oh, thank you.
love uh just every, it's so detailed. It's so detailed, like it doesn't miss a step. It's answering all the questions. It's really making you dig deep, to really find what it is that you can identify with and what you need to work on, and so on and so forth. So I just love every part of this app, and so happy that you took this time to just sit down and talk to me about your experience and how you've gotten to this point and where Brewery is going. I'm excited because I know it's just the beginning. And I mean, sky's the limit here. So I just love that you took this time to share with us. And I know that many women all over the world, which is the great part about this, right? It is not just for LA or New York or Maryland. It is, everybody can have a piece of this and be able to be inspired and motivated to go on their journey and start their purpose. So thank you so much for doing that.
Oh, thank you so much, Elaine, for your kind words. It really means so much to me. Yeah, I'm so passionate about this whole idea, and I really wanted to change women's lives for the better. So I hope it does. That that's my desire.
Yes, we're claiming it's going to. So tell us where everyone could reach you. How can they stay in touch with you?
So you can connect with me on Instagram at Oh My Truck, and I would love to connect with you guys there. Or check out the Brewery social media pages. It's the Brewery, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or thebrewery.com website. Yeah, let me know what you think. Try the app and any feedback. If anybody has any idea or any feedback how we can make it better, shoot me an email, shoot me a DM. I would love to hear your thoughts.
Well, you heard it here. Don't miss out. I promise you guys, I'm not going to sell you on something that's not good. So if I were you, I would get on top of this and go and check out the Brewery because you will not be disappointed. Alina, thank you so much once again for taking this time to share your experience with us. And I look forward to continuing to work with you and encourage you and support your business and everything you have going on. So I wish you the best.
Thank you so much, Elaine. I wish you all the best as well. Let's stay in touch, and I hope all the best for the show. And yeah, for My Vision is Clear experiences.
Thank
Let it
you.
just rock.
Thank you so much. Thank you for tuning in to another great episode of My Vision is Clear Experiences. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share with everyone you know. We look forward to seeing you at our next episode. Until then, take care.